actually shared my journey of how I went from creating free content online to now having a multi-million-dollar company. The million-dollar question that I get a lot is, Vanessa, how did you even... What's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel, the best place for new coaches, content creators, and entrepreneurs. In today's video, let's talk about making money on social media, specifically answering the question that I get a lot, which is, Vanessa, how do I go from creating free content online, being a quote-unquote influencer, to actually having a money-making business? How did you do it? Now, in this video, I'm actually gonna cover that. I'm gonna share not just my journey on how I monetize my platforms, but also little tips here and there for you so that you can get started right away. Now, before we dive into the video though, I wanna let you guys know that I have an ebook right here that I wrote that covers the top 50 lessons that I learned in my first year of business. If you're not familiar with me or my channel, in my very first year of business, I went from $0 to $500,000 in revenue, and now we run a multiple seven-figure business that is highly profitable. And so I documented everything I learned that first year into this ebook. So make sure you click the link in the description box or in the comment section below to grab this ebook while it's still here. I promise you won't regret it. Now with that out of the way, let's dive right into the video. All right, so the first tip that I have for you, or the first step that I have for you, is gonna sound a little bit amateur, it's gonna sound a little bit obvious, but I assure you, if you are someone who is just getting started and maybe you feel massive imposter syndrome of showing up online, you wanna listen to this tip. And that is, share what you know on social media. You can choose any platform that you want, whether that's TikTok, whether that's podcast, whether that's YouTube or Instagram, it doesn't matter. Start sharing what you know. I promise, even though you may not know it right now, everyone has a skill, everyone has knowledge, or everyone has a story that other people out there in the world want to hear about. Now, a common objection that I see a lot is, Vanessa, I honestly don't feel like an expert at all. I have no results, I have nothing to show for. Now, let me share something that I teach inside my program to my own students inside the Bossgram Academy. And that is understanding that in this world, there are three types of experts that exist. And a lot of us, we always assume that the only expert that exists is the results-based expert. Now, what is the results-based expert? It's basically the expert that has a lot of social proof, the expert that has given results for other people or for themselves. And that's why traditionally, a lot of people look up to this type of expert. But we often forget that there are two other types of experts that exist in the world as well. And this is how I got started. Because remember, not everyone wakes up one day and decides to be a results-based expert. The other two experts that exist are the role model expert and the research expert. When I first started my journey, I was the role model expert. And what that means is you're sharing your story. You're sharing and documenting your journey. So if you actually look back in my archives and you look at my channel, my first few videos was literally me sharing my story of leaving the 9-to-5, my story of graduating university and the lessons that I learned from that. And in the internet world, there was a handful of people who wanted to hear my story. So remember, even though you may not feel like a role model right now, I assure you there's someone out there in the world who's looking for content from you, who wants to resonate with your experience and who wants to learn more about what you have to say based on that experience. Now, the second type of expert that exists is the research-based expert. And what this basically means is you are so good at collecting information that you then become the go-to for information. Now, a good example is Tom Bilyeu from The Impact Theory. Now, obviously, Tom Bilyeu himself has a very successful business. However, his channel, The Impact Theory, isn't about his business at all. And instead, he uses that platform to interview other experts. And he became the go-to for these amazing interviews. So he himself doesn't necessarily need to be an athlete in order to share content about what athletes go through. All he needs to do is interview athletes. And so if you can become the hub, the go-to for information for your audience, that is also a really great starting point as well. And actually, a lot of people have built businesses that way. Tom Bilyeu is one of them, Tim Ferriss is one of them, and also Lewis Howes is one of them as well. Because remember, a lot of times people are way too lazy to interview people themselves. People are way too lazy to do research themselves. And if you take on that work, and if you take on that work to interview, or even just to research and share that information on your channel, on Instagram, on wherever, with the right credits, then a lot of people will just go to you instead. And so that's a really great way to build authority, even if you're not a results-based expert yet. Now, throughout your journey, you will evolve. So for me, like I mentioned, I started off as a role model expert. And as I started to work with clients, as I started to attract a tribe, I then was able to gain experience. And once I gained experience, I then shared that experience. Once I got the results, I shared even more experiences and results. And now I'm regarded as a results-based expert as well. However, I wasn't a results-based expert to start off. So that's why I want to make sure that you guys are aware that you don't have to have results. You just have to share content and make yourself a valuable resource to others. Now, let's say you're at the stage where you've completed step 1. Thanks, Vanessa. I'm now sharing content online. I'm making myself known, and I'm also providing valuable information to others. I'm becoming a person of value on the internet. What's next? Well, the question that I would ask you is, what are you doing with that audience? What are you doing with that traffic? And so the second tip that I have for you is to build an email list, because at the end of the day, you could be creating a lot of content on YouTube. You could be creating a lot of content on TikTok, on Instagram, whatever it is, but you don't own that platform. And so if TikTok ever disappeared, which it almost did, or if YouTube goes down or Facebook goes down, what will happen to your audience? How will you keep in touch with them? And so for me, when I started my channel and my journey, I made sure to collect emails. Now, to give you a visual example, this is one of the first few videos that I did about social media. And inside this video, I actually added a lead magnet. A lead magnet is anything that allows you to capture emails in exchange for that person getting valuable information from you, let's say. And so with this video, I offered a free PDF, very similar to the ebook that I'm offering in this video as well. So again, make sure you snag it in the description box or in the comment section below. But basically, I created this Instagram hack guide. And in exchange of giving people this guide, they would need to give me their email so that I can send it to them in their inbox. From there, I was able to grow my email list. I was able to create a contact list of my audience members, which then allowed me to have a lot of leverage in my business later on. Now, some of you might be asking, what type of leverage? What is the leverage that you would get from an email list? Well, if you later on down the line decide to launch a business or launch a new offer or a product, your email list is going to be one of your most valuable assets, because now you get to directly let your email list know that you have launched something. And the best part with an email list is they're getting that message directly from you, and they're not necessarily scrolling a feed with all of their other competitors inside. And also, you're able to do better targeting with emails. You're also able to track things a little bit better. And through the emails that you send, you're also able to nurture your audience even more. And so my second tip to you is, once you build an audience, or even right from the get-go, your first video, your first post, your first thing that you do, already start building that email list. Now, moving on to the third tip. And the third tip is really the part where we're going to start talking about how to get clients, because the million-dollar question that I get a lot is, Vanessa, how did you even get clients without working with clients? How do you get clients when you've never worked with clients before? How do you get clients when you have no experience? All of those things. Because remember, yeah, it might not be enough to get clients with just your story or just your research. And so when you are starting out, I highly, highly recommend that you say yes to everything. Say yes and be open to new opportunities. Now, I do not recommend this if you are already someone who is advanced in business, because I think your time is precious. But if you are just starting out from scratch, you have no clients at all, you don't even know what direction you're taking your business, just say yes and be open to opportunities, even if they might scare you. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I followed my first tip, which was share what you know on social media. I was a role model expert. And so over on my YouTube channel, I posted my story about leaving the 9-to-5 and all of that, because that was basically all I could really share that I knew would be valuable to others. And what ended up happening is, because I was sharing content online, I then started to attract viewers and subscribers and people who would comment on my videos, people who would message me. And one day I had one person message me and they asked me, hey Vanessa, I am miserable at my 9-to-5. Do you offer any coaching services to help me get out of this funk? Do you offer anything that can help me leave the 9-to-5 as well? At the time, I had no coaching offer. I wasn't even a coach. I just wanted to create content on YouTube and make it as a YouTuber. I was literally so scared when I got this message. I felt so much imposter syndrome. But despite all of that, I decided to say yes. Even though I didn't have a website, didn't even know what a coach was, but deep down inside, I knew that I could help this person. And so I agreed to help her out for free. And that is the key thing. I knew I didn't have enough experience. I knew I didn't have anything to show for. Heck, I don't even know if I was able to get results for this person. And so it didn't make sense for me at the time to charge money for something that I didn't even know if I could make work. And so I decided to work with her for free. And that's literally how my career started. It's easy to feel imposter syndrome when it's a complete stranger that's reaching out to you for help. But remember, how is that different from you helping out a friend of yours or a family member of yours? And that's how I treated it as. And throughout working with her, I realized that I really enjoyed doing what I was doing, and watching her flourish and watching her have these little wins made me realize that I can do this. And that's how my journey really started. It was really having that mindset of saying yes to opportunity, even if it scares you, because you have no idea where that opportunity will lead. And especially if you are already putting yourself out there on social media and you're positioning yourself as someone of value, I guarantee it's just about time until someone reaches out to you for help. So at this point, we talked about a mindset shift that I made in order to get my first opportunity of working with someone, even though it was for free. And what you have to realize is, as a content creator or an aspiring content creator, you're already giving out information for free. And so why not take it a step up and start working with people one-on-one? It is the easiest way for you to make money. Now, of course, nothing in life comes easy, and for every type of business model, it's gonna be challenging. There are gonna be roadblocks, there are gonna be things that you need to learn. But personally for me, if you have no capital, if you have no money to make a product, if you have no money to invest in inventory, then I think one of the best business models is a service-based business model where you start working with clients. There is very, very little setup fee. And if you wanna learn more of my thoughts on e-commerce business model versus a service-based business model versus a course-based business model, I highly recommend that you check out my free training right here at www.followerstoclients.com. I actually break down these 3 business models and explain which one I would recommend. And on top of that, I give you 3 complimentary trainings so that you can get started in signing paid clients. So I definitely recommend this free training as well. Link is in the description or in the comment section below. But anyways, one of the easiest ways for someone to get started in business and to start making money is working with clients, because your content is already teaching people new things. And so why not add another layer to your service, add another stream of revenue where you work with people at the one-on-one level and you start charging for that service as well? Because at the end of the day, you can do YouTube videos, you can do Instagram content, you can do podcast content, but there will always be someone out there who still wants personal one-on-one access to you so that they can ask you their personal questions and have you answer them. And many people will compensate you for that. And so my next tip for you is to start working with paid clients and charge for your consultation fees or your coaching. And so what I did to make my first $10,000 and repeat that month over month is I started signing paid clients. Back in my previous tip, I mentioned how I said yes to new opportunities, and I started to work with clients for free. I worked with about 3 clients for free, and once I realized that I was actually good at what I was doing, once I got feedback, once I refined my teachings and my coachings even more, that's when I started to feel confident in charging. And so when I first launched my coaching program, I started charging $2,000 to start. And so when I signed 5 clients at $2,000, that was already a $10,000 month. And as I got more experience, as I felt more confident in working with clients, I then started to increase my prices even more. And so I made about $30,000 working with clients thanks to me putting free content online, but also monetizing a stream of that by attracting people who wanted more attention from me. And then today, eventually, I was so booked out with one-on-one clients, I decided to then scale my business and package everything that I was teaching my clients into a digital program. And so my digital program today is called the Bossgram Academy. And this is a program that has literally helped over 2,000 people monetize their content and get clients themselves. Because think about it, when I first started, I had capacity to work with 5 to 10 clients. But eventually, as I was getting booked out, I then packaged everything I knew so I could work with more people. I shifted from one-to-one to then one-to-many. And now I've been able to work with well over 2,000 people. I would not be able to do that with a one-on-one service. However, if you are just starting out in your business, I highly, highly recommend the one-on-one business model to start out. Because number one, When people have access to you personally and you're able to answer questions to your clients, they're able to access you on a private level, you're gonna be able to charge more for your services. And especially if you have a smaller audience, you're gonna want to charge higher prices, because if you wanna make $10,000 and let's say you sell your services at 20 bucks, you're gonna need a lot of clients in order to make $10,000. Versus if you wanna make $10,000 and you're selling your services at 2,000 or even 1,000, you don't need as many clients to make that happen for yourself. And that's why the one-on-one business model is very, very lucrative and very helpful for people who are just starting out, especially if you have a smaller audience. And it's exactly how I started out. Eventually, as you grow, you're then able to scale it into a course. Now, a rookie mistake that a lot of people make is that they dive into courses right away. But you have to remember, in order for your course to be successful, you need to have a proven process, you need to have social proof, and you also need to have traffic and volume. And if you don't have these three things, your course will not be profitable and it will not make you money. And so that's why it's very helpful to dive into the one-on-one model first, because number one, you get to collect social proof. Number two, you don't necessarily need to rely on traffic and volume. And number three, you also are able to get feedback from your clients so that you can perfect your process and see what system you can create that's repeatable that can get people results. Now, so far in this video, I literally shared my journey of how I went from creating free content online to now having a multi-million-dollar company. Now, of course, there are 101 million ways to make money online. You could monetize through affiliate marketing, brand sponsorships. You could create a product and start an e-commerce business. You could create a software and create a software as a service business as well. But I'm just sharing what worked for me and what I believe is one of the easiest and best ways for newer content creators to make money, even if you have a small audience. Now, don't forget, I do have this ebook right here. So make sure you visit www.followerstoclients.com/ebook. It outlines the top 50 lessons that I learned in my first year of business, and people have been raving about it. Literally, this book is so valuable and so jam-packed, you're gonna learn a lot. It's 50 pages long and it has everything that you need to know when it comes to working with clients, business operations, and managing relationships in your first year of business. Now, while you wait for next week's video, I post a lot of videos on marketing, entrepreneurship, social media, and so much more. So make sure you visit these two videos that I have right here as well. As always, guys, I appreciate you. I hope you guys have a great day, a great week, and a great life, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys!